Good day. This week's question of the week comes to me from one of my viewers, and they asked, are you a certified Gracie Training Center? Because they see my instructor's patch from Luis Pajares that we teach Gracie Jiu Jitsu. And I thought it was an excellent question. I get it from time to time. I just never took the time to really address it. And so I figured I'll tackle it this week. And what we're going to look at is, what is a certified Gracie Training Center and what does that mean? And I'm going to give you an example because, one, I'm an old man, I'm a retired Navy sailor. We like to tell our stories and give analogies. So I'm going to give you my analogy. Now this boot here, you're probably wondering, what's this boot got to do with Gracie Jiu Jitsu or certified Gracie Training Centers? And that's a very good question. Now this boot here, it's made by a company called Viberg. It's out of Canada. And they was founded in 1931. And they call this boot their service boot. And it's modeled after the service boot the Canadian troops used in World War I and World War II. And although they was founded in 1931, so they weren't making boots for Canadian troops in World War I, but they were apparently in World War II. But during World War I and World War II, a lot of countries were making service boots for their troops. You know, of course, the United States, France, England, Germany, Japan, Italy, Austria, Russia, the Soviet Union. A lot of countries were making service boots for their troops. However, Viberg is the only company authorized to use the term service boot when selling their boots because they managed to trademark the name. And so other companies that had been making products that they called service boots, because I remember at one point White's shoe company was making a service boot, had to change their name of the boot. And I think now they call it the MP boot, MP for military police. I know for those of you that ain't into boots, this is more information than you care to know, but we're gonna learn today. So Viberg is the only company in the world authorized to call their boot a service boot. Although they didn't invent the service boot, and they're not the only people to ever make a boot for military troops, let alone in World War I and World War II. However, they have it trademarked. What has that got to do with Gracie Jiu Jitsu and certified Gracie Training Centers? I know you're asking that, and I'm here to give you the answer. So thanks for humoring this old man and listening this long to my story and to my analogies. So what that has to do with it is, when you look at Carlos and Elio Gracie, who are on the wall behind me, between the two of them, they had approximately 30 children. I think Carlos had like 21 and Elio had 9. Of those 30 children, they've had grandchildren. And I don't know how many grandchildren. I'm guessing probably close to 100. Of those 100, 2 of them are Huron and Henner Gracie. To be a certified Gracie Training Center, what that really means is you are students of Huron and Henner Gracie. So not all Gracie schools run by sons and grandsons of Carlos and Elio Gracie are certified Gracie Training Centers. So a more accurate term for a certified Gracie Training Center would be a Huron and Henner Gracie certified Gracie Training Center. But it's their last name. They can do what they want with it. However, there's, like here in town, I think there's a blue belt or a purple belt that runs a certified Gracie Training Center through Huron and Henner Gracie. And then there's probably like 25 schools in town run by black belts. Some of them are black belts from Henzo Gracie. I know one is a black belt from Helson Gracie. I know there's a couple black belts in town from Hoyler Gracie and Hoyce Gracie. I think Carlos Gracie. there's a Carlson Gracie black belt. Like there's a lot of Gracie black belts, but there's only, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, one certified Gracie Training Center here in San Antonio. So what does that mean? Well, there's one school that is the students of Huron and Henner Gracie. Now, my instructor, Luis, got his black belt in a joint ceremony from Elio Gracie and Hickson Gracie in 1984. When he got his black belt and started calling his training Gracie Jiu Jitsu, I think Huron Gracie was 2 years old, and Henner, his younger brother, I think was a year old. So long before they trademarked certified Gracie training centers, there was people that were teaching Gracie Jiu Jitsu. And in fact, their father, Horian Gracie, when he first came to the United States, he attempted to trademark Gracie Jiu Jitsu, even though there were other Gracie family members that were here before him. In particular, Carly Gracie, one of Carlos Gracie's sons, who were teaching Gracie Jiu Jitsu here in the United States. And Carly did not think it was a good idea for him to pay Horian for the right to use his own last name to teach Gracie Jiu Jitsu. And that was just family drama. So I tell you that whole story to say, what is a certified Gracie Training Center? It's students of Huron and Henner Gracie. And I think they've trademarked other things like Gracie Combatives. I think they got something trademarked where they teach Gracie, police tactics, whatever they call it. And it's all very legit programs. I mean, both Huron and Henner Gracie have outstanding jiu-jitsu. I got nothing but good stuff to say about their jiu-jitsu skills. And but that's the story. Certified Gracie Training Center, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, service boots. It really just comes down to like somebody attempting to trademark a name, and then that name gives the impression that that's the only legitimate, Gracie training, when that's a little deceptive, in my opinion. Sort of like Viberg, as if they're the only ones with a service boot, when there was a lot of service boots made before Viberg came along in 1931. A lot of service boots made during World War II by various companies and countries throughout the world. But they managed to get a trademark on it. And so legally, this is the only service boot in the world, which I find interesting. But they make a great boot. So that's my answer to this week's question. Feel free to share your comments and insights below. I'm always interested in what y'all have to say. And thank you for you brave souls that listen to my stories and my analogies and humored this old man. I appreciate you. And until next week, ciao.